Hey, welcome back to Squarebody Stuff. I'm Chad. We're still plugging away on old Squeaky here. This video we're going to be setting up the two-step or two-stage ignition box. That way I have a switch that I could, either I've got a button or something else I'm going to figure out to have one stage rev limit when I'm trying to stage at the line. And then whenever that switch flips, then I've got the second stage, which will be my max rev limit. Hopefully that'll help me a little bit on my launch. I won't have to worry about watching my tack and watching the tree, watching my tack, watching the tree. That gets a little bit too much for this little brain up here to think about when I'm trying to stage. Of course, it's a manual transmission, so I'm trying to, the clutch and everything. Try not to break through the beams too far. It can be a mess, a little bit more than I could process sometimes. So trying to cut out some of that, and it'll help out. Hey, before we get started, I'll ask if you hit that subscribe button, ring that little bell next to it. That'll give you notifications whenever I put up new videos. Give us a like, give us a share this with your friends. Also go down in the description box below and check out our Teespring store. That's where you can check out all of our merchandise. I've got my Old Glory shirt on today. I've got several other designs that I've put together myself. So I'd appreciate if you go check them out. Maybe buy you something, buy your friend something, buy your wife, your boyfriend, whoever. Just go check it out, and I think we're going to get on to doing some wrenching. I guess I'll show you this ignition box real quick. I mean, not much to it. It's just an ignition box in a box. It's a Mallory Hi-Fire Pro. The part number is 695. I went with the Mallory because I'm running a Mallory Unilite Comp 9000 distributor and a Mallory ProMaster coil, so I'm going to keep it all Mallory. I've always had good luck with Mallory products. I know they're not what they used to be. I think they were bought out by Holly, I believe. So anyways, this is still a good digital two-stage ignition box. I say so far about the only thing I don't like about it is I wish these the access panel was on this other side. That way you can run your wires, a different way, and be easier to access. But it is what it is. I'll deal with that. The wiring instructions, it's on the unit itself. Pretty straightforward on that. Not a big deal. It comes with all sorts of good stuff. It even comes with a little screwdriver to do your adjustments with, rubber mounts, and a bunch of wire ends and all that good stuff. So should be pretty easy. It also comes with instructions. It's not just on the bottom. And usually on a lot of this stuff, if you go online, Summit usually has a place where you can go look up that part number, or look up that part number, and you could, usually they have like a instruction manual. Or you can go to the manufacturer's website, and they'll usually have instruction manual for whatever you've got if you get something used and don't have the instructions. So I've done that a lot in the past because I buy a lot of used stuff. But this is actually brand new, so it'll be kind of nice. I'm starting to get used to buying brand new stuff. But how this works is this is the two-step rev limit, and this is the max rev limit. And then you also got your how many cylinders. Each one of them goes by thousands and 100s. So you can dial it in pretty much right where you want it. Not a big deal there. I'm not real sure where I'm going to set my two-step. Normally I try to launch off the line around 5,500 RPM because this little 305 just doesn't have enough torque. When the RPMs drop, it just kind of bogs. If I'm not using the nitrous. If I'm using nitrous, it doesn't have any problem with it. So I'll probably set it between 5 and 5,500 RPM. My max rev limit probably around 6,800 RPM because I try to shift around 65 to 6,700 RPM because of the wide gear ratio spread between second and third. It drops the RPM so much that I got to get rev it high to stay in the power band whenever I hit third gear. Because right now, even in the quarter mile, I really don't even get to fourth gear. because the gear ratio is too high. I'm going to be addressing that situation on down the road. I've got a plan for that. It'd be kind of interesting, be something different, kind of go along with everything else I've got going on this truck. It's all a little bit different. I mean, who else drag races with the old SM 465 granny low 4-speed? Anyways, this two-step, it's set up to where you hook it up to a switch, and 12 volt switch. When that switch is armed, or you can put it on a button, when you push the button, it sends 12 volts to the two-step and engages the two-step. So, you know, and then whenever you let off of it, it goes to the max or the max rev limit. So I've got to come up with either a switch or a button or something to do that. And I thought about just like a button on the shifter or something like that. But like I was saying earlier, with the way my brain works, I get a little overwhelmed, and I don't want to have to worry about another button to push or anything like that. So to make it easy on me, I wanted some sort of a switch on the clutch. Well, the factory, it's not a neutral safety switch, but the clutch switch interlock, it wasn't hooked up, but it was still in the truck, and I started messing with it. Now, you know, this works when you push the clutch in. It actually makes contact at the bottom. It works opposite of what I thought it did. I thought it made contact whenever it was pulled out, but it works opposite, which is great because that's how I want it to work. I want it to work whenever my clutch is pushed in, and I don't know if you can see this. This right here has this plastic nut and sleeve goes through there. This is what mounts to the framework of your pedal assembly, and this goes into the actual clutch pedal arm. And I've even modified it. I actually drilled a little hole so I could put just a sheet metal screw through there to make sure it doesn't pop out. So I popped it apart, checked out what I need to do, and I made some marks on here. Moved my clutch in and out to where I think I want it, and there's where I want it, and this mark here is where it's you know, completely out. So I'm going to modify this to, I hope I haven't lost you yet. I know I get to rambling sometimes, but I've got to move these contacts back to about the middle. The reason I need to do that is because I need the two-step to still be engaged whenever I let out on the clutch and get the truck to move a little bit, so I can just get the throttle where I want it, get on the two-step, and use the clutch to get staged to the line, and then be ready for the green light. The way it wasn't. I had to push the clutch way too far down to get the two-step engaged, and by the time I came up enough where the clutch was engaging, I wasn't on the two-step anymore. So I got to move this, and I'll still have enough room whenever the clutch is all the way out that it kicks off the two-step. I think it'll work out pretty cool if all I've got to figure out is how to get these, get some slots made into this, and there's a channel or a ridge inside here I'll have to take out. I'll use a carbide burr or something like that just to take it out. So I think this will work for my two-step switch if I get it to working right. So I'm going to work on that. I may just kind of set the camera up and have a fast forward whatever through that, play some cheesy music in the background, and then we'll get to figuring out where I'm going to mount my box. I think, because I've removed the heater core and the heater box and all that stuff, that's in another couple of videos. I'll put it up here in the corner if you're going to want to watch those. So I've got all sorts of room behind the glove box, but I want to make it easy enough to get to reach these. So I may just use some double-sided tape and mount it inside my glove box. I should have enough wires. It should be plenty out of the way. But I'm not real sure on that yet. I got to scope that out yet. But I'm going to work on this switch first. see, make sure it works before I start it up. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. But right there, I mean, I'm just barely getting tension on the clutch, the pressure plate. And it's making contact. I can almost go all the way to 4, which I very rarely do put it all the way to the 4. I got short legs, so I've got pretty much the full range of motion that I was looking for. And the clutch has got to be almost all the way out before it'll, but I've still got plenty of movement here. Let's start him up and see what happens. Well, I'm not sure if you can see the meter or not, but it's going to have to be, the clutch will be engaged before my switch cuts off. So that's exactly what I was looking for. So now I just got to hook the wires up, hook my box up, and that's all there is to it. Just hook some wires up. Throw the box in the glove box, let it bounce around. No, we won't do that. I'll fasten it down somehow. But at least this part works. I'm pretty excited about that. But then I went ahead and mounted my box like this. Use a little rubber mounts. Before I put this plastic piece back on the metal door, I went ahead and drilled holes and mounted my box to that. That way it's nice and solid. Drilled a hole in the bottom. I even put a grommet in there so my wires don't get cut. Of course, there'll be one that'll sneak in that little crack and get cut. Be my luck. Maybe I can wiggle around and get that big loom around there. But anyways, now it's just a matter of getting the glove box mounted back in the truck. I even had to drill a couple holes to get to my back screws on my box. So I'll get this mounted back in the truck and do all the wiring. I don't see that there's any need to videotape any of that. Yeah, me and wiring, it doesn't get pretty, so I'll be crouched down in the engine bay, hooking up to the distributor. I'll be laying around in the full board, so not a pretty sight. I finally got everything wired up. That went actually fairly smooth. Having these inner fenders out really helped a bunch. I can just climb up in there and get everything wired up behind the engine or to the distributor where I needed to, so that worked out really slick. My glove box mount turned out pretty good, I think. I got my screwdriver there. Be easy to get to. Everything seems to be working good. I've got the two-step set at like 2,000 RPM, and the max rev limiter set at like 4,000 RPM. That way I could kind of test it out without revving the motor way up. So let me get over there and get it set up, and I'll kind of show you what it does. So I'll start them up and show you how it works. Rev limiter. Now I'll rev it up to like 3,000 RPM, then push the clutch in. But show you that it's still on the two-step as I'm letting out on the clutch, so it'll pull as it's still on the two-step. Well, it seems to be working just the way I planned it, and that's, no, I won't say it's out of the ordinary, but it's nice when a plan comes together and it all works out the way you want it to, and you don't have to go back and redo a bunch of stuff. So hopefully you guys will stay tuned and tune in to whenever I get the video up of the drag strip. This will probably be my last video until that one comes out. I've still got a few things to do to the truck. I got to put my rear tires on. The slicks on. I've got one slick that's got a hole in it. I need to patch it and just kind of give her a good once over. I got to change plugs. I got some new plugs in, so I'm going to put a fresh set of plugs in it, spark plugs. So I'll quit rambling. I'll let you guys go. So until next time, y'all keep your square bodies rolling. We'll catch you later.